Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. So the issue of the coronavirus is something that has plagued people, like physically and mentally. It's plagued us as well. Everywhere you go, everywhere you sit, people are talking about this virus. And we heard what the government officials have to say about it, and we heard what the doctors have to say about it. But I wouldn't know what Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam have to say about this. The reason is because you have to understand something, my brothers and sisters. This virus is a living being. This virus is a living being. It's a living creation of Allah Azza wa Jal. And Allah Azza wa Jal has sent forth and decreed for this creation to be unleashed inside of the masses. And it's infecting people, and they have estimated that the problem is only going to get worse and worse and worse. To the point where they said the UK is about 2 weeks behind the situation in Italy, where the whole country is on lockdown. So me and you need to understand the nature of this creation of Allah Azza wa Jal, and maybe why Allah has sent down this plague. Because we want to ensure that this punishment of Allah, if it is a punishment of Allah, and generally speaking plagues are punishments of Allah, we can be safe from it. Does that make sense? It's shocking that the human beings, they think they're extremely strong, and sometimes Allah Azza wa Jal will do things that is to humble you and me, to show you that really with all of our might and prowess and all of our technological advancements and all of our military power, we're nothing. You know why? Because with all of that, nuclear weapons, armies, everything, Allah has made the entire world come to a standstill by a creation of Allah that is so small that you can't even see it with a naked eye. Allah made the creation that think they're the biggest, the creation, the humans who think they're the baddest, come down to their knees because of something so small. A microscope has to zoom in 250,000 times to be able to see it. No one saw that coming. These are things that remind you of ayat where Allah He said things. وَلِلَّهِ جُنُودُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. To Allah belong the soldiers that are in the heavens and the earth. Who are these soldiers? وَمَا يَعْلَمُ جُنُودَ رَبِّكَ إِلَّا هُ. No one knows the army of Allah. No one knows the soldiers of Allah Azza wa Jal except for Him. We could be living life normal, progressing forward. Allah just has to send a wind, like He sent to the people of Ad, and they come crashing down to their knees. Allah just has to send a scream that He did to the people of Thamud, and they fall down to their knees. How many people had weddings next week, huh? And they've been cancelled now because of the coronavirus. How many people had exams? People forgot about Allah during university and college because they had exams. Now their exams are looking at, they might not even take place because of the virus. Allah shows you, listen, you're nothing. No matter how big and bad you think you are, I can unleash one of my smallest creations and I can make the whole world come to its knees. The aeroplanes have stopped, the airports are closed, the seaports are closed. And this is what Allah Azza wa Jal, He does. Now the question that we want to ask ourselves today is why? Why does Allah Azza wa Jal cause the people to become inflicted with calamities and hardships in this way? Why? And I want to mention to you 3 Quranic examples, 3 Quranic evidences in which Allah Azza wa Jal, He shows why He does this to the people. And hopefully in this is a solution for our salvation and safety from this virus. Allah Azza wa Jal said, ظَهَرَ الْفَسَادُ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِي النَّاسِ لِيُذِيقَهُمْ بَعْضَ الَّذِي عَمِلُوا لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. Allah said corruption has spread in the land and the sea. Why? Where did this corruption come from? Where did this corruption come from that's affected our lives in every single way? بِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِيهِمْ. Look at your hands. Allah said, your hands, look at the evil that you've done with your own hands. The sins that you and me, we've done. That is the reason why there is corruption on the land. Okay, but what's the wisdom, Allah? I've done sins, but why am I seeing problems everywhere? Why are diseases running crazy? Why is it there are problems all around? Allah Azza wa Jalla said, لِيُذِيقَهُمْ بَعْضَ الَّذِي عَمِلُوا. So you can taste some of what you've done. You can see the result of your evil. Allah's trying to show you, listen, you have sinned. You have violated my rights. You've caused corruption on the earth. And I'm trying to make you understand that if you don't stop, you might be destroyed. So Allah gives you a taste of His punishment. He gives you just a taste. Why? لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ, so that you can come back. You can come back and say, Allah, I got the message, I'm sorry. I'm not going to miss those salawat anymore. I'm not going to do that sin no more. Allah, I'm going to stop talking to these women. I'm going to stop doing drugs. I'm going to stop selling drugs. Allah, I got the message. I got the message. So that you can come back to Allah and turn away from the sin. That's the reason why Allah Azza wa Jalla, He does this. The second reason, second evidence from the Quran that shows you that this is a true reality. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He said in another ayah, وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمَمٍ مِّن قَبْلِكَ. Allah said, we have sent down messengers to nations before. Allah said, Muhammad, many nations before, we sent them messengers, we sent them prophets. The people, when they disbelieved in the prophets, like we don't follow the prophet. We haven't disbelieved, but we don't follow the prophet. Some of you are on some other manhaj. Some of you following some different sect, some different sheikh, some different group. Or sometimes you claim to be Salafi, but when evidence is mentioned to you, you don't want to submit and act upon it. You don't follow the Prophet the way he deserves to be followed. Allah said, when we sent these messengers down and the people rejected them, Allah said, فَأَخَذْنَاهُمْ بِالْبَأْسَاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَضَرَّعُونَ. Allah said, we grabbed them, we took them, we inflicted them with difficulties and hardships and poverty. We inflicted them with it. Why? لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَضَرَّعُونَ, so they can come back to Allah. Allah, I'm sorry. Allah, I'm sorry. يَتَضَرَّعُونَ, meaning they can fear Allah. They weren't scared of Allah. They were doing sins. They were rejecting the messenger. They were doing whatever evil it was that came to their mind, thinking Allah is not going to punish me. Look, Allah mentions about the people of Ad and the people of Thamud and what He done to the people of Nuh and what He done to the people of Lut. But that's not happening to us today. We ain't got no earthquakes underneath us. We ain't got no stones raining down on us. We ain't got no floods drowning us. It's not going to happen to us. Maybe that was them people Allah's punishing, or maybe Allah doesn't even punish at all. And you what? You go about doing what you do. Suddenly Allah says, what? He grabs you with something. يَتَضَرَّعُونَ, so you can come back. He's given you a chance. فَلَوْلَا إِذْ جَاءَهُمْ بَأْسُنَا تَتَضَرَّعُوا وَلَكِنْ قَسَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ وَزَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. Pay attention to this ayah. It's very, very, very serious. Because now Allah sent this virus to us, right? And this virus, I'm telling you right now, brothers, we're in the early stage. This is about to take over. This virus is about to take over. It's about to take over, my brothers. I don't know if you've been listening to the news. Some of you have been too busy listening to these drill rappers or watching your movies on Netflix. You're not seeing what's happening in the world. This virus is about to take over, my brothers. All these viruses you heard of in the past, SARS and MERS and swine flu and all this virus already killed more people. Already more people died because of this virus. And don't come to me with this stupid talk. I heard some brothers, they tell me, it don't affect the young. It only affects the elders and the little kids. Are you stupid? What, you're telling me is that a life? You're telling me that's not a punishment for your mum and dad and your aunts and uncles to die and your children to drop dead and you to be the only one left alive? You think that's not a punishment? And secondly, who said it can't touch you? Who said it can't come grab you? Does that make sense? So Allah sends this. When Allah sends a virus, a test like this, okay, what did He say? It's for you to come back to Him. But okay, Allah said, then why when our punishment came to them, did they not humble themselves? So Allah said, I sent it to you. I sent you this punishment. I sent you this test. I sent you this affliction. You never humbled yourself. You carried on listening to music. You carried on going to the parties. The girls carried on not wearing hijab, wearing makeup, perfume when they go out, skimpy tight clothes. Huh? Telling me what? Yeah, I'm wearing hijab. Sister, you're not wearing hijab. Hijab is the jilbab at the very least. That's what you need to put on. These viruses coming, these things are coming, you're not listening, you're not paying heed, you're not being attentive to Allah's call. You're not being attentive to Allah's reminder. So you're carrying on. وَزُيِّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. And shaitan, he beautifies for you that your action, make you think what you're doing is cool. Carry on your feminist stupidness. Carry on acting bad on the roads. Carry on listening to music. Carry on beating these chicks. Carry on listening to music. Carry on being disrespectful. Carry on doing these things. Look what Allah said He will do to you. Look what He said. He said, فَلَمَّا نَسُوا مَا ذُكِّرُوا بِهِ. When they forgot the reminder of Allah Azza wa Jal, when they forgot that which they had been reminded, Allah said, فَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ أَبْوَابَ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Allah said He's going to open the door of every good for you. You turned away from Allah, you didn't listen to the reminder, right? So Allah said, look what Allah's going to open the door. You didn't listen? Allah's going to open the door. Open the door of women. Open the door of haram women. Open the door of haram money. Open the door to all of these madnesses. Why? Because Allah wants you to drown. Allah wants you to drown in this evil now. You didn't listen when He sent you a reminder. and you want it to go in that direction, you want it to be a bad boy, Allah's going to make you the biggest bad boy on the block. You want it to be a womanizer, Allah's going to make sure, oh, the girl, they're after you, and you're after them. Allah, you want to be a rapper, you didn't listen, Allah's going to make you the biggest rapper, He's going to open that door for you. You want to sell drugs, you're going to be the biggest drug dealer on the block, Allah will open that for you. He'll open it for you, until you're at a point where you enjoy it, you're living the life, it's lavish out here, the gala out there, the money's out there, you got fame out there, everything's running nice. And then what did Allah say? فَأَخَذْنَاهُمْ بَغْتَةً. Suddenly Allah's going to grab you, suddenly Allah's going to take you, فَإِذَا هُمْ مُبْلِسُونَ. And then Allah Azza wa Jalla will leave this person in despair, because you know what? The first punishment when it came, it was a reminder. The second punishment when it comes, it's not a reminder. That's the game over. That's it. No more second chances. That's the punishment. الَّذِي لَا يُرَدْ. That will not be taken away from you. That's the final punishment. That's the punishment that will take you, destroy you, and from it you will not come back. From it you will not come back. That was the second example. The third example I want to give you is an incident that happened at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. After the Battle of Badr, the Quraysh were still not listening, and they were still acting on their dumbness. They were still being enemies of Allah Azza wa Jal. The mushrikun, the people of shirk and kufr in Mecca, they were still enemies of Allah Azza wa Jal and His Messenger ﷺ. So the Prophet ﷺ, he raised his hands, and what did he do? He made a dua. He raised his hands, and what did he do? He made a dua. And the dua was accepted, and it resulted in Allah making the people in Mecca have no food to eat. Famine, poverty, they were struggling. So the leader of the people in Mecca, his name was Abu Sufyan. And this time he hadn't accepted Islam. So he came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said, Ya Muhammad, I swear you by Allah and the family ties. I swear you by Allah. He said, Our fathers have been killed, because in the Battle of Badr, the Muslims won, they finished them off. He said, now our sons, our children are dying out of hunger and starvation. He said, we are eating hair and blood. That's all we have to eat. Hair and blood. He's asking the Prophet to make some kind of dua, uplift this from us, this is very hard. Imagine you got no food, you have to eat hair. You got no food, you have to just have blood, you have to just drink blood. And then when Abu Sufyan said this, Allah, He sent down an ayah to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet recited it. Allah said, what did He say? He said, وَلَقَدْ أَخَذْنَاهُمْ بِالْعَذَابِ. Allah said, we already took them with the punishment. We took them with the punishment. It was supposed to be a reminder. Allah saying, the first punishment that came to you, it was a reminder. فَمَسْتَكَانُوا لِرَبِّهِمْ. They didn't yield and surrender to their Lord. They didn't come back to Him. وَمَا يَتَضَرَّعُونَ. And they didn't humble themselves towards Him. They did not humble themselves towards Him. حتى إذا, and what did Allah do? فتحنا عليهم بابا ذا عذاب شديد إذا هم فيه مبلسون. Allah opened what? Allah opened the door of severe punishment for them, and now they are in despair. Now they're in despair. Meaning, in other words, you had a chance, Abu Sufyan. You people did not listen. So now Allah sent down this on you. You had your chance. You had your chance. And this is why Imam Al-Hasan Al-Basri, he said a statement which is so powerful on this ayah. Pay attention, because right now, everyone, when it comes to this coronavirus, what's everyone saying? Hand sanitizers. Look at these jokers running in the shop and they're raiding the shop for toilet paper, as if they never cleaned their bum ever in their life. It's the first time that coronavirus made them realize, I have to wash my bum. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So now it's just they woke up now. We have to clean ourselves. Does that make sense? And they're saying, hand sanitize and don't have public gatherings and, don't be too close to one another. These are the solutions that they're coming with, right? They're not telling you to make tawbah to Allah, because they're not understanding that this is a punishment, perhaps a punishment that Allah is sending down. So look at the statement of Imam Hasan al-Basri. Look what he said. He said, إِذَا أَصَابَ النَّاسَ مِنْ قِبِلِ الشَّيْطَانِ بَلَاءٌ. If the people have been inflicted by a hardship and a difficulty, okay? فَإِنَّمَا هِيَ نَقْمَةٌ. It is from the wrath of Allah. نَقْمَةَ اللَّهِ, he said, فَلَا تَسْتَقْبِلُوا نَقْمَةَ اللَّهِ بِالْحِمْيَةِ. He said, do not try to prevent and turn away the wrath of Allah through your precautions and your preventative measures. Don't try and turn away the wrath of Allah through your hand sanitizers. Don't try and turn away the wrath of Allah from telling people, wash your hands. We've been washing our hands when we're doing wudu 5 times a day. Now they're telling us wash our hands as if to say we haven't been told to wash our hands 5 times a day already. Do you understand? So he's saying don't think that you can push away Allah's wrath through what? Through preventative measures, right? Rather, he said, the wrath of Allah is only pushed away bil istighfar, by seeking forgiveness. وَتَضَرَّعُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ, and submitting yourself to Allah. Then he recited that ayah that Allah said to the Prophet ﷺ. Does that make sense? So these are the 3 examples I wanted to show you from the Quran, my brothers and my sisters, that when these kind of plagues and when these kind of hardships and afflictions they come as a warning. Allah is trying to tell you, wake up, O mankind. You are not worshipping me alone. You are not worshipping me the way I need to be worshipped. You are not obeying me what I told you. You are falling into haram that I told you not to do. You are not following the messenger's sunnah. You are doing bid'ah. You are doing major sins. You are doing minor sins. You are not listening. Allah is trying to wake you up. And if you don't hear this message, Allah is saying, no problem. فَأَخَذْنَاهُمْ بَغْتَةً, I'm going to take you. I will take you. You will come back to me. I will grab you. And I will leave you. There will be no hope for you in that situation. No hope. Does that make sense? Now that we've understood that, we have to ask ourselves a very important question. The sins are many. The sins are many. But is there a specific sin as to why Allah sends plagues? These kind of viruses? These kind of diseases and illnesses? Is there a specific reason perhaps? Is there a particular specific sin as to why Allah Azza wa Jal sends this? Remember, different punishments have what? Different sins have different punishments. Even when you go to the courtroom, if you rob something, you get punished one way. If you kill someone, you get punished another way. If you do fraud, you get punished another way. Does that make sense? Different sins have different punishments. So what is the sin for which Allah punishes people through plagues? Pay attention. Hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sunan ibn Majah. Brothers, this is Allah and His Messenger teaching you about the reality of the world around you. Who would give a damn what Donald Trump thinks? Who cares what Boris Johnson thinks? I don't know why people are so concerned, but they don't care what the Prophet has to say. What Allah has to say, what the scholars have to say pertaining to this. Look what the Prophet said. He said, Ya ma'shar al-muhajirin. He's speaking to his companions. He said, Khamsun idha btulitum. There are 5 things. If you are tested with them, wa'udhu billahi an tudrikuhun. And I'm seeking refuge in Allah that they don't reach you. And I'm only going to mention the first to you because that's the one relevant to us. The Prophet said, La tadhhari al-fahishatu fi qawmin qat. That sexual intercourse outside of marriage and filthy activities like that do not become apparent inside of the people. Hatta yu'linu biha. Until this sexual promiscuity and pornography and filth and all these disgusting evil acts become public out in the open. What happens? The Prophet ﷺ said, إِلَّا فَشَى فِيهِمُ الطَّاعُونَ. Allah will send to them plagues. Allah will send to them diseases. Allah will send to them viruses. And He will send to them poverty. Things they will have the likes of which have never been seen by their forefathers. This came because of zina, my bro. It came because of that porn you're watching. It came because of your girlfriend and that boyfriend of yours. It came because of that dirty music you keep listening to. You're bashing every day. That's why it's here. Fix up. This is not a joke, my brothers. Allah already sent AIDS down to these people. He already sent down AIDS to them in the past. Was that a disease they ever heard of? Had they heard of AIDS before? They never heard of AIDS. And it started killing people. They were dropping dead. These people thought, what? Like Hassan al-Basri said, he said, don't try to push away the wrath of Allah through your preventative measures. What did they say? They said, we're going to prevent the AIDS virus. We're going to do safe sex. Condoms. Durex. They said, run with that. And you can do it. You can push away the punishment of Allah. So Allah let them wait a few decades. Maybe they'll come back to their senses. They didn't listen. Allah sent them another plague. This time it doesn't come just through sexual intercourse. It comes just by kissing her. Forget kissing her. Just by shaking her hand. Just by shaking her hand. Forget shaking her hand. Just by being close to her. She cough on you. game over, my brother. I'm being real, this is a serious problem. And the people haven't listened. And if they think they can play with Allah, then no problem, Allah will just take them. Allah will just what? Will just take them. Look at this other narration. Same hadith. وَلَا ظَهَرَتِ الْفَاحِشَةُ فِي قَوْمٍ إِلَّا سَلَّطَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْمَوْتِ. The Prophet ﷺ said that sexual intercourse outside of marriage, zina, fornication, adultery, this does not become apparent inside of a people except that Allah will bring them death. Allah will kill you. Allah's going to kill all of them. May Allah protect us from His punishment. May Allah Azza wa Jalla protect us from His punishment. Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahimahullah ta'ala, look what he mentioned. He said, these ahadith are proof that these kind of sins, such as zina and whatnot and so on and so forth, they are a reason for Allah's punishment to come to the people. And then he mentioned a statement from Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu where he said, مَا نَزَلَ بَلَاءٌ, that a hardship, affliction, a calamity does not come onto a people إِلَّا بِذَنْبٍ, except due to sins. وَمَا رَفَعَ إِلَّا بِتَوْبَةٍ, and Allah does not lift it up from you except through repentance. My brother, you have to leave that girl today. And you don't just leave the girl. You know what? Can I ask you something? A lot of brothers, well, this gets on my nerves. Either some brothers are stupid, well, either some brothers are stupid, mentally challenged, willing to put you back a couple of years in school, or you're just playing with Allah. What does tawbah mean? Tawbah, one of the things and the conditions of tawbah is iqla' min al-dhanb, that you cut yourself off from the sin. So a guy would say, I have left my girlfriend, but then 3 weeks later he's in bed with her again and he comes to me, it happened again. I'm saying, did you break your sin? No, I didn't. You're an idiot. You didn't cut for yourself from the sin, did you? Did you cut yourself from the sin? He said, I left a girl. But you know what, bro? I fell into it. I started chatting to another girl 3 weeks after, 3 months after. I'm saying, bro, where did this girl come to you from? Instagram. Okay, so you didn't leave Instagram. But when you want to cut yourself off from the sin, every avenue of the sin, you have to delete it. Some of you are still on Snapchat. Wallahi, Snapchat, a'udhu billahi min dhalik. Snapchat is one of the most, if not the most filthiest, most disgusting app that's out there. Every time a brother downloads Snapchat, I know his iman's gone down. Every time a brother downloads Snapchat, or he's active, I know his iman's coming down. And don't let shaitan, remember, فَلَمَّا زُيِّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ, shaitan beautifies your action for you. You say, I got Snapchat just to keep in touch with the brothers. Bro, any brother on Snapchat is not a brother you're even allowed to keep in touch with. You're not allowed to keep in touch with sinners. Most of the men on Snapchat are sinners. And that's not the kind of brothers you're even allowed to keep in touch with. You tell me, I want to give da'wah to them again. فَلَمَّا زُيِّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ مَا يَعْمَلُونَ. Shaitan beautifies for them what they do. He tells them, bro, you're in touch with them because you want to give them da'wah. Bro, you need da'wah yourself. Don't try to be the light that shines, the candle that burns bright for everyone else, but in the process of trying to give everyone else light, you burn yourself out. Don't do that to yourself. Does that make sense? I want to mention to you some statements of Ibn Qayyim because I want to drive this point home. I want to show you that this is a real thing. It's not me just making this up. This is in the Quran, it's in the Sunnah, and the scholars have understood it like this for decades. Look what Imam Ibn Qayyim said. He said, وَلَا رَيْبَ أن تمكين النساء من اختلاطهن بالرجال أصل كل بلية وشر. He said, there is no doubt that when the women and men start mixing, اختلاط, free mixing, they start free mixing in uni and college and school, on the phone, on the bus, they start free mixing. They're free mixing in the masjid nowadays. They're free mixing in the masjid nowadays. When men and women start free mixing, he said, this is the foundational reason for every single evil and hardship that comes. That's a big statement. Every evil and hardship that we experience as a human race, he said, this came because of women and men free mixing with each other. Because the free mixing don't stop there. It goes to zina. And zina is evil, brothers. This is the third greatest sin. People were seen naked. The Prophet saw them naked inside of their graves, inside of an oven, and they were being burnt. And he said, who are these people? Burnt, because they're naked. He said, what? He was told these are the women who used to sleep around with each other outside of marriage. They are the people who used to what? Sleep around with each other outside of marriage. And now what is it? It's not just sleeping around. It's not just man and woman sleeping around. It's man and man sleeping around. It's woman and woman sleeping around. And I know some of you are sitting there thinking, that's disgusting. Bro, a person who engages in zina, his heart is getting harder and harder and harder until eventually one day he'll wake up and he will not find anything wrong with it, him doing it with a man. That's the way sins work. And how many men we've seen, but now where is it? They fell into that. They fell into that. Does that make sense? And Ibn Qayyim has many statements like that. Now, the first stage is how you can change yourself. The contribution you can make to us being saved from this virus and this plague is that you can do tawbah and I can do tawbah. What about those who are not trying to do tawbah? What about those who are not listening? What can you do in that situation? You have to stop them from their evil. You have to stop them from their sins. Shall I tell you why? Look what Allah said in the Quran. Allah said, وَاتَّقُوا فِتْنَةً. Allah said, fear the trial, fear the punishment, fear the trial, fear the difficulty, fear the thing that Allah is going to send on you. Which one? There's many different punishments, right? This is a special one. Allah said, لَا تُصِيبَنَّ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنْكُمْ خَاصَّةً. Allah said this punishment, when it comes, it's a unique punishment, in that this punishment doesn't just grab the people who are doing the evil, it grabs everyone. Everyone is destroyed. Allah takes everyone. If you were innocent, on the day of judgment, you'll be resurrected upon your intention and you will have Jannah. But in this world, when that punishment comes, it will grab everyone, not just the wrongdoer. So then what do you do in this situation? You must stop them. You must stop the people from doing evil. You must give da'wah. You must enjoin the good. You must forbid the evil. Look at this hadith. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِ بِيَدِهِ لَتَأْمُرُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَلَا تَنْهَوُنَّ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. The Prophet said, you will command the good. You will command the good. And you will forbid the evil. If you don't, Allah will send upon you عِقَابًا مِنْهُ, a punishment from Him. ثُمَّ تَدْعُونَ, you will make dua to Allah. Allah, please save us. Allah, please uplift it from us. Allah, please protect us from this evil, from this punishment that's come. فَلَا يُسْتَجَابُ لَكُمْ, and Allah will not respond to your dua. Allah, the one who said, just ask me and I respond. Just call me and I respond. Is now saying, the Prophet is saying, this same Allah who's merciful, who's Hayyun Kareemun. The Prophet said, if you lift your hands up to make dua to Allah, He's too shy and generous to let your hands return back to your side empty-handed. That same Allah, if you now make dua to Him, and you never enjoined good and you never forbidden evil, now Allah's not even going to respond to that dua. The dua is going to get left. It's going to get rejected. Look at this other hadith. The Prophet's wife Zaynab radiallahu anha, she asked, she said, Ya Rasulullah, أَنُهْلِكُ وَفِينَ الصَّالِحُونَ. Are we going to be destroyed? Are all of us going to be destroyed? And there are righteous people that are going to be destroyed with us? That there are some righteous people that are still alive and everyone's going to be destroyed? The Prophet said, Na'am, yes. إِذَا كَثُرَ الْخَبَثِ. If the evil people are more than the righteous people. Today, are the evil people more or the righteous people more? Are the evil people more or the righteous people more? I don't think anyone's going to disagree. There's more evil people. There's more evil people than there's righteous. So this is very scary. This is very scary because if Allah was to send a punishment right now, just purely because the majority are evil, everyone's going to be destroyed. So we need to start enjoying good, and we need to start forbidding evil. Look at the other hadith of the Prophet. He said, إِنَّ النَّاسَ إِذَا رَأَوْا ظَالِمًا. If the people, they see a man who's oppressive, he's an oppressor, he's a drug dealer, he's out on the streets, he's carrying a weapon. And by the way, oppression is of types. It could be a kafir, it could be shirk and kufr that he's doing. Oppression is of varying degrees. Zina, he's sleeping around with our daughters and our sisters. Or this woman, she's an oppressor. Because what does she do? She's tempting a man by wearing the clothes that she wears when she come out on the streets. Wearing the makeup and all this. This is oppression. The Prophet said, if the people, they see someone who's an oppressor, فَلَمْ يَأْخُذُوا عَلَى يَدَيْهِ, and they don't grab him by the hand. They don't stop him by the hand. Put him back and say, bro, stop this. Wallahi, this is very dangerous what you're doing. أَوْشَكَ أَنْ يُعَمَّهُمُ اللَّهُ بِعِقَابِ مِنْهُ.
Allah Azza wa Jal will send down a punishment generally to destroy everyone from himself. Allah will destroy everyone because of him. Does that make sense? There are many other evidences that we can mention like that, but I want to mention to you a story, a true story that Imam Ibn Kathir rahimahullah ta'ala mentioned in his book Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya. It was in the year 1085 CE. 1085 CE, in the year 478 Hijri, year 478 Hijri, 1085 CE. You know, we all know 1066, right, about these things. Right? That's a date we all know, right? Learn this date from now, 1085 CE. What happened in the year 1085? He said a disease broke out, and plague, accompanied by severe fever. Does this sound familiar? Does this sound familiar? A disease broke out, and a plague, accompanied by severe, what? Fever. It happened in Iraq, Syria, and Hijaz, Saudi Arabia, Makkah, Medina, that area. Yeah? It started to even cause the animals to die. Domestic animals, the animals in the house, your donkey, your horse, all that, even the wild animals. Interesting. You know, in China, where this disease started from, it started in a wet market, and it started because of the wild animals that they would bring in slaughter. The wild animals they would bring in slaughter, the disease came from them. You know this, right? Do you know this? It came from the wild animals. So look at this. This disease today is killing wild animals. Wild animals can get affected. Domestic animals and humans. Does it not sound familiar? Does it not sound familiar? What happened in this situation? What happened in this situation? And imagine, people weren't listening, they weren't getting the message. So thunderbolts were coming down, winds were coming, entire trees were being brought down. Ibn Kathir said the people thought that the day of judgment has come. That's how bad it got. Did we not have winds recently that brought down trees? Brothers, did we not have winds? Wallah, it's shocking. The Prophet would see a cloud. Brothers, the Prophet would see a cloud coming, extreme winds. He'll start going in and out of his house, worried, in and out of his house, worried, in and out. What's happening? And then he'd be told, why are you scared? He said there was a wind like this that came, a cloud like this that came to people in the past. They thought it was going to bring Allah's mercy, but Allah punished them through it. The people of Ad, the wind they came, they thought, maybe it's going to rain down water on us, some rain. And the wind came and it blew them. It destroyed them, flipped them upside down, like flipped over palm trees. When the wind came, no one was scared. People thinking, it's just windy days, stay at home, don't ride the trains. Allah is scaring His creation, perhaps. He's trying to scare them, dude, I'm sending winds that shine down your trains. Your planes can't fly. Trees are falling over, destroying your houses. And people are listening. The righteous people used to think the day of judgment perhaps has come. We see it as, the weatherman got it right this time. That's what we see as. I would be like that. So Ibn Kathir said the people thought the day of judgment came. The people thought the day of judgment came. So in order to combat the epidemic, in order to combat the outbreak of the plague and the virus, the Khalifa of the time, his name was Muqtadi bi Amrillah. The Khalifa, what did he do? He commanded that every single person starts to enjoy good and forbid evil, because people understood the evidences. They realized these hadith, you'll command the good and forbid the evil, if not Allah will destroy you and you will not respond to your dua. He will send out the pressure to respond to your dua. So he said, okay, wait, let's start, everyone must start commanding good, forbidding evil. Wherever you see someone doing evil, tell him stop. Every time you see someone not doing good, tell him do good. Stand up and say, come to the prayer. The salah is about to happen. The iqamah is about to happen. What are you doing? You're out here hanging. Get inside the masjid, bro. Of course, in a nice way, in a respectful way. I'm not saying you start screaming, shouting down people's throats. But you're doing a nice, respectful way. Yo, bro, come, bro. Why are you standing outside? Because of you, Allah's going to destroy us all. Come to the masjid. What are you doing, brother? You see a man and a woman hanging around. Back in my day, wallahi, back when I was young, if we were hanging around with a girl on the streets, wallahi, an older brother would come and he would say, Allah, what are you doing, man? And he wouldn't care if the guy turns around and says, mind your own business. He would still remind. Now, how shameful is it? Look at us, we got beards, trousers above our ankles, we come to the masjid, we see filth happening outside, we don't even say, Akhi, fear Allah. Akhi, what are you doing? We just walk right past. We don't even hate it in our hearts. And we have the ability to stop it. We don't even try to stop it. How sad is our situation? So he said he commanded the good, he commanded the people to enjoy the good and to forbid the evil. And not just that, every single musical instrument was crushed and destroyed. Bottles of alcohol were smashed and spilled. And the people who were wicked, who were not listening, they were told, get out the land, get out the country, get out, you don't want to here. They were exiled from the land. Soon thereafter, the disease disappeared. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He gave these people a faraj, He gave them an opening. So the first thing that you can do is to is to make tawbah yourself. The second thing that you can do, my brothers and my sisters, is now start enjoying the good and forbidding evil and stopping the people who are what? Who are carrying on with the evil. Some of you, man, wallah, you are sisters. And you don't feel no way about the way they walk out of the house. Some of you got what? Daughters. Some of you got families, some of you got brothers. And you've got sin happening in your own house and you don't care. Some of you they don't listen. Because you tried to speak 1, 2 times, 3, 4 times, and they didn't listen to you. You now turn around and what? Give up. Allah, man. It's your family members. It's your family members, bro. Fix yourself and fix them up. The same way I have to fix myself up with my family. Otherwise, we're going to be the reason for each other's destruction. Does that make sense? And inshallah ta'ala, before I mention the final thing, the second to last thing I want to mention, the penultimate thing, is just practical advices to protect ourselves from the virus. And maybe you can write this down. Practical advices. Number 1, tawbah from sins. The greatest evil you make tawbah from is shirk, then bid'ah, then major sins. Tawbah. Repent to Allah Azza wa Jal. Number 1. Number 2, as I said, enjoying good and forbid evil because of the evidences that I've just mentioned prior. Number 3, dhikr, remembering Allah. The Prophet ﷺ told us that, you know the book Fortress of a Muslim? Have you seen the book Fortress of a Muslim? It's called Fortress of a Muslim because it came from a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Because dhikr is a fortress. What does a fortress do? It protects you from enemy, from evil. Dhikr protects you from evil. And there's many adhkar you can make. For example, when you leave the house in the morning, say Bismillahi tawakkaltu. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. When you say that, Bismillah, in the name of Allah, with the name of Allah, tawakkaltu ala Allah. I've relied upon Allah. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There is might, no power except that which is with Allah. When you say that the moment you leave your house, it is said over you. Kufit, waqit. You have been sufficed by Allah. You relied upon Him. Allah is going to take care of you. Waqit, you've been shielded and protected. There's a shield. There's like a force field around you. There's a shield around you. No evil, no harm is going to come your way. Read these adhkar, my brothers. The Prophet ﷺ used to make this every morning and evening. Bismillah alladhi la yadurru ma'a ismihi shay'an fil ardi wa la fis sama' wa huwa as-sami'ul 'alim. There is no harm, there is no evil that can touch you in the earth or in the sky with the name of Allah Azza wa Jalla. With the name of Allah, and with His name, no evil, no harm can touch you in the sky or in the earth. The Prophet ﷺ would say, if you make this in the morning, you are going to be safe from any harm touching you till night. And if you say this after Asr at night, in the evening, you will be free from any harm touching you till the morning. We don't make these du'as and we wonder why we're inflicted. Allahumma inni as'aluka al-'afwa wal-'afiyata fi dunya wal-akhirah. Allahumma inni as'aluka al-'afwa wal-'afiyata fi dini wa dunyaya wa amwali wa ahli. Again, fortunate Muslims, their brothers. The morning and evening remembrances. Afiyah, help, Allah. Give me help. Give me help. You're asking for this. Right? So these are adhkar that we must make, that we have to make. Does that make sense, my brothers and my sisters? We have to do this. That was the third thing. The fourth thing is dua. Because know that no one has the ability to take away calamities from you. No one. Illa bi'idhnillah, except with the permission of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Okay? No one owns anything. Allah said, لا يملك مثقال ذرة في السماوات ولا في الأرض وما لهم فيهما من شرك. Allah said they don't own anything in the heavens and the earth, not even an atom. The people you're trying to ask for help, the doctor you're trying to go to for help, whoever it is you're trying to rely upon, they don't even own an atom's weight in the heavens and the earth. وما لهم فيهما من شرك. They don't even share an atom with Allah. So when you make dua only to Allah. Allah said, make dua to me. I will respond. You don't have to go through no intermediary. You don't have to go through no second, third man. You yourself make dua to Allah, He will respond to you. Does that make sense? And the final thing, inshallah ta'ala, from the advices, practical steps, is to follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ completely, in every shape or form. Follow the sunnah, not just regardless of tahara, follow the sunnah completely. Wallahi brothers, if you ponder over the prophetic sunnah, wallahi look, now wallahi it's so funny because yesterday I was watching a lot of videos of the coronavirus. I went to see what all the governments are saying and the World Health Organization is saying and what all these experts and scientists and PhD guys are saying. Wallahi, what all of them are saying, you know the best advice they give? Wash your hands. But I'm like, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam commanded us. When you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do before you put your hands inside the vessel to do wudu is you wash your hands. When you do wudu, what do? You wash your hands. Not just that, it was so funny, I saw this little NHS sticker that everyone's put in all the public toilets where they say when you wash your hands, don't forget to do it in between your fingers. And the hadith is in Sunan al-Bayhaqi, if I'm not mistaken, where the Prophet said you will go deep in washing between your fingers or the fire will go deep into you. Something like the way the hadith is all come up. I'm like, yo, this was told to us. Not just that, you know how they say infection control. That's what all the doctors have to wear up to what? Their elbows. And with wudu, you have to wash up to your elbows 5 times a day. But not just that, wallahi, it's funny. I look at the calf and I say, wallahi, my feet is cleaner than your face. You maybe wash your face once a day, I wash my feet 5 times a day. Am I exaggerating? I wash my feet 5 times a day. Do you understand? These people look at them, wallahi, to circumcise. Wallahi, I'm sorry if I'm going to be a bit, a bit graphic here, inshallah ta'ala, but I just want to make you understand, like people, like this foreskin, wallahi, carries so much disease. Like a person urinates and then already they're not cleaning their urine, they're not wiping themselves. Does that make sense? And they're not wiping themselves, and what happens? The little droplets, they fall onto them and the foreskin gets caught in it. And over 10, 20, 30 years, that's just in there, it's getting caught and bacteria is coming. Wallahi. Obviously, a man's not going to talk to you about the diseases on his genitals, is he? A lot of them suffer from infectious diseases of their private parts. A lot of them. And what's sad is that now when I look at the filth they do, they engage in sodomy. Yeah? They engage in entering their women from the back door. And in there is feces. So already on your uncircumcised thing, there's bacteria all around it, and you're putting it, you're dipping it in feces, in and out. And then what do? Astaghfirullah, she puts her mouth on it. And then what does she do? She'll kiss you. And you will kiss your mum. And then you kiss everyone. Look at the diseases that they're spreading, wallahi. It's mad. It's mad. Does that make sense? It's mad. Look at the sunnah of the Prophet. These are things you should ponder on. The Prophet told us, what is it? What hand do we wipe ourselves with when we go to the bathroom? What do we wipe our hands with? Left hand. And what hand do you shake with when you grip people? Right. These men now have to tell you, and unfortunately we also have to follow this because even some Muslim brothers, they don't follow the code. So me, I'm trying to not shake hands with anyone as well. And I don't think you should shake hands with anyone either. But in a Muslim country, like if I was back in like a Muslim country where people I know practice where they don't wipe their filth with their right hand, I would shake man's hand. Now they tell you don't shake anyone's hand. Why? Because you don't know. He's wiping him. Forget wiping, bro. These guys are sitting in front of you, puts his hand inside his boxes. That's what he does. And then he wants to shake your hand and touch your hand. Does that make sense? But for us, look, left hand is for cleaning, right hand, assalamu alaikum. Like, look, it's clean. We cut our nails, they don't cut nails, carry diseases in there. Look at it, like, Islam is a ni'mah. Follow the sunnah of Rasulullah. Follow the sunnah of the Prophet to the T. To the T. Don't debate, don't ask no questions. If it doesn't logically make sense, look, wallahi, you think to yourself, why is the Prophet so on this issue of, wash your hands when you wake up in the morning? And why? Why is it such an issue? Why is circumcision such an issue? And then when the disease is spread, sometimes the wisdom's not told you, but the wisdom's there. Don't be the idiot that waited to be destroyed or waited to be affected by calamity to realize, oh, that was the wisdom. But it's too late now, because now what, bruv? You have to cut your thing off. Do you understand? The point of the matter is, my brothers, follow the sunnah of the Prophet to a T. Another thing, by the way, yeah, I know that when brothers come and do this to me, I do it to them just to not break their heart. But now I'm going to mention, inshallah ta'ala, and hopefully we'll all learn a lesson. It's not from the sunnah of the Prophet to hug each other every time we see each other. Sunnah is to shake hands. Hey, assalamu alaikum, brother. Yeah, it's not to hug. It's not to hug. We all do it. think everyone does it when they come in, right? It's this thing that's common. It's common in everywhere, sadly. The one that you hug is the one who comes from a far journey. Ah, I see faith, mashallah, assalamu alaikum. Does that make sense? If I just see you every day or every hour, assalamu alaikum, brother. I just always want to hug. I'm saying, and you know why that's bad? Because I get infection, germs. Just getting close to him, brother. I'm saying, hugging him, breathing down his neck. And he coughs as well. So I'm like, right, look, the sunnah's got so much khair. So much khair. Shake hands. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Assalamu alaikum. You want to hug? Well, hug your wife, brother. This day and age, a man hold on to me too long. I'm starting to think, yo, back up, brother. You better back up, brother, right now. You know what I'm saying? So these are things to consider. And these were just the 5 practical steps. There's more practical steps. Our Sheikh Abdurrahman Hassan released the video today, 10 practical steps how to protect yourself from the virus. I urge every single one of you to go watch that video, inshallah ta'ala. If you can understand the Arabic language, please go watch a video, a khutbah the Sheikh Salih Husaymi done, very nice, 6 points he mentioned, a video that Sheikh Abazaq al-Badr he done, very nice, wallahi. I really advise you guys to watch that. But the final thing I wanted to mention is for those who might be inflicted, because the reality of the matter is that this virus is going to spread. This virus is going to spread. Unless we make tawbah. Wallahi, if we all make tawbah right now, and we start doing what was mentioned in the advice that I gave, Allah will lift this from us, inshallah. But if we don't, the virus is going to spread. So when it spreads, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, run away from the sick person the way you run away from a lion. Quarantine. I don't know if the Prophet told us about quarantine. This man discovered it like a couple of decades ago. They tell me, oh, it's common sense. I'm like, if it was that much common sense, my brother, then why did the one plague happen? Why did that happen? Common sense ain't so common, is it? You understand? So the Prophet says you have to go into quarantine, which they now call self-isolate. Does that make sense? And if that happens, then you're not allowed to leave. When the outbreak happens, you can't leave the country, you can't leave the city and go somewhere else because you're going to infect them, and people aren't allowed to come here. Does that make sense? And there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that I want to mention because some people are going to die. In fact, many have already started to die. And the Prophet ﷺ said, أَنَّهُ كَانَ عَذَابًا, about the plague, that it is a punishment, the Prophet said. يَبَعْثَهُ اللَّهُ عَلَى مَنْ يَشَاءُ, Allah sends this punishment of the plague to whomever He wills. فَجَعَلَهُ اللَّهُ رَحْمَةً لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. But for the believers, if you get infected by the plague and you're righteous and you're not sinning, you're really doing your best to worship Allah, you're a believer, it's a mercy for you. Why? Because the Prophet said, فَلَيْسَ مِنْ عَبْدٍ يَقَعُ الطَّاعُونَ, because there is not a single slave of Allah who he is inflicted by a plague. فَيَمْكُثُ فِي بَلَدِهِ صَابِرًا, and he remains inside of that land, he doesn't leave, and he's patient. يَعْلَمُ أَنَّهُ لَنْ يُصِيبَهُ إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَهُ. And not only does he stay there patient, but he also knows that this only happened because Allah Azza wa Jal, He inflicted him with this. إِلَّا كَانَ لَهُ مِثْلُ أَجْرِ الشَّهِيدِ, except that he will have the reward as if he died a martyr. Died as if he was killed in the path of Allah Azza wa Jal, fighting for the sake of Allah. That's the reward he will have. Does that make sense? For the kuffar, for them, remember, for them death is what? For them death is the beginning of eternity in hellfire. But for you, the moment you die, inshallah, you have the ajr of a shaheed, a martyr. So, it's a mercy for you. And that's why some of the Sahaba, because Sahaba were in a place, Mu'adh bin Jabal was in a place in Syria, it was called Ta'un al-Amwas. And he was inflicted by the plague. And as he was on his deathbed, I think he was spitting or coughing onto his finger, and he was kissing it. And he was saying that this is a blessing from Allah, because he knows if he dies with this, he's going to die as a shaheed. And he used to say, Allah, don't save my family from this. Because he wants them all to have the blessing, the reward of a shaheed. And his son, he got inflicted by it. They were both died and they were buried in the same grave. Does that make sense? They were buried in the same grave. So if it happens, may Allah protect us from His punishment. But if you're righteous, brothers, and you're a believer and it comes to you, then for you it's not a punishment. For you, Allah is choosing you to be from the VIP. He's choosing you to be from the martyrs. Does that make sense? But that's for the believers. Brothers, billah alaykum. Don't destroy us and don't destroy yourselves with your sins. Come back to Allah. Today, destroy any evil on your phone, delete apps. Just don't let it be as it has been in the past. Allah sends it to them, they didn't listen. Then they are waiting for Allah's final command. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Assalamu alaikum. I have a question for you. From all of my videos online that you might have seen, which one has been the most life-changing one for you so far? Many people told me that it was the video when we gave da'wah outside the shisha cafe. And I'll leave you with this. The Prophet ﷺ said, a time will come when holding on to my religion, holding on to Islam, will become as difficult as holding on to charcoal. The charcoals that we smoke shisha with. The Prophet said, try and hold on to it. It burns you, let go of it. The Prophet ﷺ said, that's what my religion will become like. Is it not like that today? Or perhaps you're from those who said it was that lecture that everyone was asking about, the one I did on the issue of death. Send me back. Please send me back. I'll pray this time. I'll dump that girl this time. I won't play around with the girls no more. No more cigarettes, no more weed, no more watching things online, no more talking to the guys, no more music, no more disrespecting my parents. I will pray. Allah, please send me back. Tell these angels, hold me down for a second. Send me back, just 2 minutes, send me back. Oh, let me die with my head on the ground in sajda. Let me die, but Allah said, no, you will not be able to return. They will scream, Rabbi rji'uni. Send me back my master, please. Or maybe it was one of the other 1,000 plus videos that we have online. Whatever it was, I want to ask you a follow-up question. And that is, I want you to remember and record what life was like before you saw that video, when you were distant from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, when you're thinking of that and remembering that, I want you to be aware that there are many brothers and sisters who are still living life like that, far and distant from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They still haven't seen that one video that's going to help change their life. They haven't seen that one reminder that's going to touch them and bring them out from the darkness of sin to the brightness and the light and the happiness of guidance. But that doesn't mean that there isn't hope for them. They just need to come in contact with that kind of content online. And that's why myself and my team are dedicating the next 3 months, inshallah ta'ala, to flooding the internet with as much content on Tawheed and Sunnah and reminders about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as possible. But the issue is that in order for us to reach those targets, we're limited in terms of the resources that we have. We need to hire more people in our media team. We need to also buy new equipment. Now look, I am going to ask you to support this financially, but I'm not going to ask you for crazy numbers. For us, we don't need that kind of money. We need little money because we have a team that really believes in this. And the proof is in the pudding. If you see what we've done over the last summer, subhanAllah, you can see that the work, it gets done. That money goes where it deserves to be placed. So I'm going to ask you, inshallah ta'ala, because you're a person who's benefited from this YouTube channel. You're a person who's benefited from my video. I want you to be able to give the gift of that video that helped change your life to someone else by donating at the link below. And remember, the Prophet ﷺ said, none of you will truly believe until you love for your brother, by extension your sister, what you love for yourself, and what you love here for them is what guidance, the way you love it for yourself. So please, inshallah ta'ala, give it the link below and let's flood the internet with La ilaha illallah.